Hello everyone, my name is Amy. Today we will going to invest in this today and dive into the cultural well-being of a tree. Well, what happens if we cut down all of these trees? Think about what we have today. If you imagined what would go down the road, no trees at all, the water is all disappointed of you. Trees are gone. You never look at green again. You look at boring, white, old colors. How would you be able to experience the wonderment of trees itself? So in this everyday we dive into today. This begins with two country story well related to this. The first country is Iraq. The second country is called Anuradhapura. These countries were populated by different people. First, Iraq. It was experienced so many people, and also the same problem as Anuradhapura. For Iraq, is they need to cut down trees to make more popularity. To make more houses and space. But then the other side itself still experiencing the same problem, right? And they still have no more trees because they respect them. They believe that Buddha sits down at the tree itself and teaching to do that. And even today, people still in Europe respect all these trees without being cut down. Even the oldest one where Buddha sits on is still there today, right? People do respect. What about the other side we're doing, right? They cut down and what just happened? Less trees. And then the water was overactive. Like vapor and all these bio droplets go to the air. Nothing is left in water anymore. Fruits were cutting down because trees was missing. These roots and these was house potential. But the other side is still thriving because trees and the population is still so much. But it's still there and people do respect them. So it's going down actually why? Why is Anuradhapura still there? And why did it get overpopulated? Well, today there's still 150,000 millions of people still there. It's twice as many of New York. And it still impacts to respect them today. The trees themselves. The major of a growth. It's not really living. And it was going down all the world with where we all live. So we cannot always lose one of these potentials. So if we go into the ways of and how which are going to save our country today. First of all, what you see is trees is acting like a sponge. It collects the water and leaves some of it. And when the sun dries down, it's gonna make the vapor collect some of its water. And some of it still in the plant itself. It will never cause mudslides and not causes floods to overreact all these humans. And they could not actually make all these trains go down on the public. They can get all this water by themselves, and if we have so much of them, the populated ones will be still the same. And I just say, the two countries, even though they are densely populated, they're still there. And all this begins with irrigation. And we are trying irrigation themselves and what the benefits of it is. And this water, this tree contaminated water. I just say acts like a sponge. And it's actually have a role. This role is not only for just acting a sponge and anything to the own population and or just benefit. This role was also added and was citizens. It helped us without declining like the past in the country of Iraq. It became densely populated and right among us. But then it was deeply down because the missing of all these trees. So then, what's towards one of the countries here will help to do apply all of these things to get over. First of all, is Savannah. They have to build some trees in the park and they have to do 2-minute walk without using motorcycles and different buses and trainers. Second, is comprehension. This country isn't very neat to spell, but they did have an important choice. They made them like a ham sandwich themselves, and this make an ecosystem better for the trees to grow. That is actually the Portland Forest Park. This holds 112 birds and also 62 mammals. How was there? It was just a forest and a park, but it holds so many ecosystems and so many animals still live today. It was detailed and planned. These are elaborate together, and it helps them to get on our lives for better. There are also Singapore. Do you know that Singapore is actually have so much tree, and in the first place of having so much trees in all the world. Actually, it has 1.2 million trees in their own country. And like pictures in this video, I see that Singapore have a populated way to make our ecosystem better, whether it be populate climate change, for some cities over here. And the video figure out that in the future, they will try and people will still live in cities. And they will have more benefits. Now I'll show you the benefits first here. First, here in New York, when they don't have trees and these public things, they have solar radiating, causing them more heat. They're breathing more hard because towers of cities left the plants no choice of heat. And when the trees grow, it will make them more easier to breathe themselves. They have more air qualities. And sometimes science proves that when a patient were in bed but only have a brick wall to see, they have more, even though they improve, but a lot slower. But if they have broad and green views, they will improve or better. Some scientists declared that if you don't have a green camouflage, then you will never be happy anymore. You sometimes feel stressed, depressed, and they sometimes do get mental health too. And how this begins, if we protected them, the trees themselves, we live more happier, livelier, ecosystem better. In the future, we all live in cities, but we live in an ecosystem life. This all begins with the person who actually and us decide where will we begin in the future, what will we end up, and how will we solve this ecosystem and climate population problem in the ocean, in the world, and the planet. My name is Amy. Thank you for